Assalamu alaikum, welcoming you all to your very own YouTube channel. Today we will be discussing that what is meant by nativism in Reluctant Fundamentalist. We will trace out that how the sense of nativism sparks in the character of protagonist whose name is Chengiz. So let's proceed with some of the core objectives of today's lecture. The Reluctant Fundamentalist epitomizes cultural clash between East and West. What is cultural clash? Cultural clash is a very important post-colonial theme, significant in post-colonial literature and studies. The cultural clash corresponds to two different mentalities and civilization when they come in direct contact with each other. For example, in case of Indo-Pak, Britishers were of different cultures and the local Indians were of different cultures. When they came into contact with each other, then the consequences were at that time were disastrous. So Reluctant Fundamentalist is an autobiographical sketch, means it is a reflection of writer on's circumstances during his lifespan. Autobiographical literature and autobiographical sketches are basically the reflection of writer's own life. So Reluctant Fundamentalists correspond to autobiographical sketch of the writer Mohsin Hamid, who is the writer of Reluctant Fundamentalist. The novel shows that how cultural conflict results in sparking nativism in Chengiz. Nativism corresponds to a belief when you get close to your roots, when you feel that you belong to some other culture or civilization due to the circumstances. So nativism basically comes from the word native, means that you will feel proud of your native identity. You become extremely proud of your own roots and ancestry. The Reluctant Fundamentalist corresponds that what it is to be Pakistani living in terrorism-altered West or America. Now we'll see the plot synopsis. The plot revolves around Chengiz and his quest of realizing his local or personal identity. Chengiz is the protagonist of Reluctant Fundamentalist. The story of this novel revolves around the character of Chengiz and his efforts of realizing his local identity. Chengiz was basically a Pakistani who was living in America, and while his stay in America, he thinks that this was his culture, this was his country, but later on circumstances prove that he was wrong. Then he realizes that he was Pakistani by necessity, by birth, and now he has to be Pakistani by choice. He was a student at Princeton University, and after that he joined Underwood Sampson due to his potential. Once he was a student in America, and later on he joined very important firm Underwood Sampson due to his personal potential. Underwood Sampson is a very important evaluation firm. In Greece he met Erika and falls in love with her. In Greece he met Erika and instantly got attracted and smitten by her. While in Manila, he heard the news of attack of 9/11. During one of his business assignments in Manila, he heard the news of a terrorist attack on World Trade Center. Now we will discuss those instances or those circumstances that proved to be the stimulus in the realization of native identity of Chengiz. During his first meetup with the father of her lover, he realizes the spirit of being Pakistani. Initially, Chengiz went on to meet the father of her lover, and during his first meeting with him, he realizes that he was from different culture and he was a Pakistani because her father annoys him with his stereotypical and controversial views about Pakistan. Chengiz was a nationalist from inside. So as a nationalist, the sense of nationalism arose in him, and he begins to think that he was from different identity and different culture. Some of the views of Erika's father are economies falling apart through corruption, dictatorship, the rich living like prince while everyone else suffers. So here the Erika's father is pointing to all the evils and ills that are associated with Pakistan. You guys have got some serious problems with fundamentalism. Means that you guys have a attraction toward terrorist activities and terrorism. Humiliation. Another important event is the Changez humiliation at the airport when he was treated as an alien or foreigner in the United States after the attack of 9/11. While coming from a business assignment at Manila, during his stay at airport, he was denigrated and strip searched at the airport because of his identity. They think that he was a Muslim and we have to search him up that to find any sort of illegal things from him. At the airport, I was escorted by armed guard into the room where I was made to strip down to my boxer shorts. So here the Changez was extremely denigrated and strip searched at the airport, and he was made to strip down to his boxer shorts. At that time, Changez made his mind to resist this mentality, and the sense of nativism that was in his roots begins to flourish. Perception of West. After the attack of 9/11 on World Trade Center, the West begins to smell the air of suspicion toward Muslims. Means that West begins to think that Muslims were behind this terrorist attack on World Trade Center that had resulted in loss of huge amount of lives. This further adds fuel to the fire in case of protagonist. America was crippled by growing and self-righteous rage in those weeks of September and October. So these lines from text shows that America thinks that only and only Muslims were responsible for this terrorist attack. FBI was raiding mosques, shops, and even people's house. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, which is a very important investigative agency, was raiding all the things that are associated with Muslim or Islam religion. They were raiding mosque, shops, and people house specifically related to Muslims. Americans' attitude and parliament attack. In 2001, Indian parliament was attacked by a terrorist group. After this attack, India accused the neighboring country Pakistan of financing and executing and planning this attack. We all know that after 9/11 attack, Pakistan was an ally of America. But after the attack of 2001 in Indian Parliament, America sided its ways from Pakistan and decides to cooperate India in this regard. Both countries were at the verge of nuclear conflict. Means Pakistan and India were at the verge of nuclear conflict, and America was doing nothing to resolve the issue. Opinions were divided as to whether the man who had attacked Indian Parliament had anything to do with Pakistan. Behavior of natives. That is the most important and significant point that forced Changez to become a nationalist. Changez faces worse behaviors from the local as they considered him alien and Arab. The natives were once very friendly people, but after the attack of 9/11, the media has developed a certain perception about Muslims and Pakistanis. So the attitude of locals towards Changez has changed. They labeled him as a fucking Arab, and after that he said that I am not, of course, an Arab. It is due to this marginalization that he decided to stand with his own country. Means he thinks that he belongs to some different culture, some different civilization. These Americans are not accepting him. In order to show solidarity with his own people, he begins growing beard on his face. Americans' involvement in Afghanistan. Changez was extremely unhappy owing to the brutalities of Americans in Afghanistan. After the 9/11 attack, Americans accuses Afghanistan of planning this attack, and after that they invaded Afghanistan and asked Pakistan for its assistance. Afghanistan is Pakistan's neighbors, our friend, and a fellow Muslim nation. But Changez was extremely unhappy behind the brutalities that America is committing in Afghanistan. So he was extremely unhappy regarding this. So these are the events that had forced Changez to realize his native identity. So that is the end of today's video. Hopefully you have understood all that topic in a very detailed manner. Do subscribe to our channel and gives thumbs up to this video, and thank you very much.